Coming your way next, we have a name to fame gentleman by the name of Mr. Sonny Siegel. Mr. Siegel is the CIO of Montgomery County, Maryland. Here on the Capitol Forum, Mr. Siegel hosts his session called Who's Who, whereby he presents prominent guests from around the globe. This week, he will present the officials from Asian American LEAD. Let's meet them closely.
Welcome to the Who's Who Show. This is your host, Sonny Siegel. Today, our guests are two individuals who are visionaries representing the AALEAD organization. AALEAD is an organization in the nation's capital that supports low-income and underserved Asian Pacific American youth with educational empowerment, identity development, and leadership opportunities through after-school, summer, and mentoring programs. The founder's vision was to create and grow a community service organization that belongs to the community. That task fell to Ms. Sujeet Ahluwalia as AALEAD's third executive director. Along with Ms. Ahluwalia, we have with us today the incoming and fourth executive director, Mr. Neel Saxena. Let us explore what AALEAD has achieved and what its plans are for the future. Sujeet, welcome to
Nice
the
to
Who's
see
Who
you.
Show.
Nice to meet you.
Neil, welcome to the Who's Who Show.
Thanks
It's
for
good
having
to see you
us.
both.
It's great to be here.
Thank you. So, how did AALEAD come about, and what does AALEAD stand for?
Yes, Asian American LEAD, AALEAD, stands for Asian American Leadership, Empowerment, and Development for Youth and Families. And we were founded in 1998. Our founder, Ms. Sandy Dang, founded the organization because there was actually at the time a very large Vietnamese refugee population in DC. She saw that there was a large community whose needs weren't being met because of income, because of cultural needs, because of language needs. And so she founded Asian American LEAD to be able to support the needs of the community. But she also was a visionary and knew that it wasn't just going to be for Vietnamese Americans and named the organization broadly Asian American Leadership, Empowerment, and Development.
Yes, it does sound broad, and I was actually very much fascinated and impressed by the fact, that it is Asian American Lead and Leadership Program. So that's most interesting. Now, as the third executive director, and before that you were the deputy director for quite a while
Correct.
for AALEAD. What was your vision, and what were some of the major achievements?
I've been really proud of what we've been able to accomplish at AALEAD. I really set out when I joined the organization to help us grow, to serve more youth. There are a lot of youth in need in our community, and if we can reach more of them, then we're doing our duty as a nonprofit organization. So the first goal really was to grow the number of youth served, and we have. We've grown from serving 300 youth to 550 youth. We've become truly a regional organization. When I started, we were in DC and in Montgomery County, Maryland, and now we are also in Fairfax County, Virginia. So we've grown to be in all three states in our region, which is great. I really wanted to focus on our financial stability. It's really important to be able to have the resources to provide continual services to our youth, and part of that was through growing our individual donor base. We have a lot of funds coming from government, which is great, from foundations and companies. At the time, we didn't have that many coming from individual donors, and so we've really grown in that aspect. We have more individual donors than ever before, and we created an Aspire to Lead Giving Society where we have several individuals who have played a part in shaping our growth by committing multi-year gifts to Asian American LEAD.
I see. Yes, I know for sustainability of any organization, especially one that is based on community and good social work, sponsorship is very important, and leadership is too. Yes, those must go hand in hand. Yes, so that is as the leader of the organization of AALEAD, this is a huge task to have sponsors, both short-term and long-term, and have varied sources, government, you mentioned, private sector, and so on. Yes, to be. So these are huge achievements. Of course, Neel, you're coming in, to be the next executive director, and it would be most fascinating to hear what your vision is for the future as well. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure, thank you. And so AALEAD has accomplished a lot under Sujeet and the previous directors, and my vision is really to continue that momentum of expansion. And we've expanded regionally, as Sujeet mentioned, in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. And the next step for us is taking it nationally, being able to provide the same opportunities we are for our young people here in the region at the national level. And to do that, it's going to take strengthening our programs, continuing to strengthen our programs, as well as strengthening our financial stability and increasing our individual donors, increasing where we get our funds from, so that we are able to both provide opportunities here, continue to provide opportunities here regionally, but allow for individuals in areas where there aren't Asian American leads, that we can go out into those areas and provide the same resources for underserved and low-income individuals, youth.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this is very, very informative. So, in providing opportunities for youth, are you concentrating at specific grade levels, specific levels of schools?
Right. So currently, we have programs that run all the way from pre-K to community college. Our after-school programs are at the elementary school level, the middle school level, as well as the high school level. And then our mentoring program is at all three levels, as well as in our community college program.
Wow. Okay. So these are not just very, should I say, junior individuals. They are all the way up to the junior college level. Yes, that's very interesting. Years ago, decades ago, I used to be an advisor to the Junior Achievement Program. And that, of course, was more geared towards folks who wanted to be, leaving high school to become entrepreneurs. So we basically incorporated, so to speak, in theory, and ran various companies. Each year they would put up and take down companies. And so I'm somehow reminded of that. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering what sort of activities the participants in the program get involved with.
So our youth are participated in many different activities. We believe in youth leadership, and so they will put together different workshops. They lead different activities. They guide the curriculum for the year. And then during the summer, they always, our high school students coordinate a youth summit, which occurs for all three of our regions. And for individuals who are interested in getting involved, we have many volunteering opportunities. Yeah. Some of the volunteering opportunities are coming in to talk to the youth and hosting different workshops, career workshops, college admission workshops, and then our mentoring program is all volunteer-based. And like I had mentioned, we have two mentoring. We have the community college mentoring program, and then our mentoring program for our youth, and there are different requirements for that. And then we have an internship program where interns can come in any three of our locations, either work in the office or work at the different sites.
I see. And so the qualifications of the volunteers themselves, can you say a little bit about how qualified or in what ways must the volunteers be qualified to be selected?
Yeah, I think the biggest qualification is having a passion for youth and connecting with youth. We have a lot of specific qualifications for our mentoring program, which they go through a rigorous process in terms of identifying if they have the time commitment. The time commitment is a year, 6 hours per month that they have to commit. And so going through all that process. For volunteers to work with our youth in workshops, it's having the knowledge. And so if there is an opportunity to talk about the accounting field, so someone who's been in the accounting field can come in and talk about that career. And then for the interns, again, it's the same idea about really the commitment and passion to serving low-income and underserved youth is what we look through in all of our volunteers.
I see. So it could be people in any walk of life. In other words, they could be professionals, physicians, engineers, software engineers, and so on,
Definitely.
right?
Definitely. We always say that there's an opportunity to volunteer in any way that you want to, really. It's about a conversation about how can you best support the mission of the organization, how can you best support our youth with educational empowerment, identity development, and leadership. And so there's so many different ways based on if a person is excited and passionate, as Neel said, and has the commitment and the time, we can work out a way for them to get involved.
I see. So do the volunteers have to prepare to be effective? Do you have guidelines for them? In other words, should when I was teaching at the community college, as an example, I actually had to have a proctor in the room, and then they would tell me, somebody who was far more experienced than I, and they would tell me, well, how to approach the classroom.
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah, so we have two wonderful staff who run our mentoring and volunteer program, and they do a comprehensive, support for our volunteers and our mentors. And so they do regular check-ins. They'll provide support wherever they need it. For the volunteers, they also connect with our program staff who are there with them and providing any support that they need. And so our staff really do support the volunteers and the mentors, so they're not left on their own devices.
Okay, that's
throughout the
good.
year. And there's a lot of intentional checking in and seeing, and they've had a lot of experience with other mentors and volunteers, so they can identify what are some of the challenges and solutions that other mentors and volunteers have faced in the past.
Now, I know this information may be a little sensitive, and in your case, of course, it's a fairly long list of supporters. Can you say a little bit about who the supporters are, and not necessarily by name, but by category?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are funded through grant funding. We get that from local governments. We are also funded through private foundations and family foundations. This is another stream of our funding. One of our biggest accomplishments over the past few years, as Sujeet mentioned, is really beefing up our individual donors. And currently we have 38 individual multi-year donors who are part of, as Sujeet mentioned, our Aspire to Lead Giving Society. And then the last category of funding is our corporate donors.
Mm-hmm. And so people who are considering donating or being sponsors, what range of amounts are we talking about? In other words, on an affordability basis?
There's a big range. It's really based on, again, your interest and ability to give and your level of involvement that you want to have with the organization. We started this Aspire to Lead Giving Society as a way to ask for multi-year larger gifts, which are gifts of $1,000 or more. We have several people who are giving $5,000 for 5 years or $10,000 for 5 years, so some of them are quite large gifts. We also have people who are giving $25 a month or $50 a year, and those gifts are also important and make a big difference. So it's really about your ability to give, your interest in giving, and how much you want to be involved with our organization.
And donors, just to be clear, donors do not have to be volunteers.
No.
So one can
Yes.
actually donate a certain amount in cash, but not necessarily being 6 hours a month.
Correct.
Commitment. Yeah.
Right. We all have various levels of time available. Some of us have more time and less funds. Some of us have more funds and less time. And so it's really about getting involved with the organization in whatever way you personally want to.
Yeah, that's very good, that flexibility. In other words, it'll work for everyone. Anyone who believes in the mission of AALEAD, they can. So are there events each year?
Yeah, so we have different events that the program staff put on each year. For this year, some of our bigger events are actually, tomorrow we have our Virginia program is kicking off their programs. In the winter time, the Maryland program is having their holiday party, and then at the summer, the DC Elementary School program will be having their events. We send out all those events on our listserv, and they are posted on our website, and people can go to our website and find out.
So
more
what is the
about
website, very briefly?
it. Sure, it's www.aalead.org.
Okay, very good. Thank you both for being
Thank
on the
you.
show today.
Nice to see
And
you.
hope to have you back, and
Nice
all
to
the
see you.
best.
Thank you
know,
very much.
In this wonderful, wonderful program. This is your host, Sonny Siegel, signing off from the Who's Who show on the Capitol Forum. I hope to see you again next month at the same place and the same time.